Welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob. It's been a little over a week, I think, for us, maybe 9 days since we last recorded, but we're back. We're back on our normal schedule. We're live, despite the struggle busing from my computer over the last 10 minutes. We're here and we're with you. So thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching us, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe above, tell everybody you know about the show. Same if you're audio only, but we're back. So as we alluded to, the reason why we kind of played the game of let's record a bunch of episodes, so we didn't have to, was you went on a trip. I had some stupid work thing last Tuesday night, but that's not important. The most important part of it is you went to Charleston for would you call it for the mastermind, or was it just kind of like just for fun?
Yes. No, okay. So I went for a meetup with other golf fitness colleagues. Now, It was social. It was not like an educational or a conference or anything like that. It was social, but it was for that group.
Right. Yeah. But you guys didn't like go down and like, powwow about like what training methodologies you can use. You happen to be in the same mastermind and you decided it would be a good idea to like all get together and hang out. Yes. You've been doing that for quite some time, right? It's been like two or 3 years.
This is the way it started was, I joined the group and the group expanded. And when the group expanded, the thought was, okay, at the summits, we will play a round of golf or we'll get dinner or something like that. And then that was late 2019.
And COVID happened.
And the summit was canceled. And the summit didn't get rescheduled for 2022. And it doesn't sound like the summit's coming back. Like the World Golf Fitness Summit is the one I'm speaking.
Yeah, it was always in Orlando, right?
It rotated, but it was like Orlando, New Orleans, Vegas, something like that. It doesn't seem like the summit's coming back. So meeting up at the summit when we're all there doesn't seem to be possible. So 4 years later, the guy who runs it just goes, fuck it. We will just have a weekend in Charleston, which, to be more accurate, Mount Pleasant. But he lives down there, so that's what we did.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, it was like work related and colleague related, but no, we didn't do any like conferences or.
Did you business expense it? Are you counting it as a business? Yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah. All right.
I mean, so that's the thing is it is work. Like,
right.
Did we sit down and powwow and solve all the fucking world's problems? No. But obviously we did speak a lot because that's the one thing that connects us.
Right. Right. And I mean, you spend 4+ hours on a golf course, you're going to talk about some things in the industry. You know what I mean? Like you're with someone for 4 hours. Like you're going to talk about a lot of random shit for 4 hours.
Well, it's even as simple as, so this is, I mean, this is how I operate. So my flight weeks ago gets moved from like a 9:30 departure to like a 7:15 departure.
Oh,
which puts me in Charleston 2.5 hours earlier.
Yeah.
Which is 2.5 hours further away from check-in.
Right.
So, I waited a long time to figure out what my plan was going to be, because the first thing I did is I booked flights because the flights were super annoying.
Yeah.
So I wanted to fly direct and I wanted to fly JetBlue. If another airline had a reasonable price, I would have taken it nonstop.
Right.
Stupid fucking money to try to get down there.
Wow.
So for me to so I flew in on Friday and I flew home on Monday. I don't know what it cost me. I forget at this point. Call it 700 something bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Round trip, nonstop on both. For me to fly any other combination of days that you might be thinking of, was going to cost me at least $1,800.
What the fuck was going on in Charleston that
Nothing.
weekend?
Nothing. It's just nice down there.
Yeah. That's wild. Because
Especially
spring break was like
I thought it was the week before.
It's typically the first 3 weeks in March is when, because like obviously schools all across the country have
this was the end of the third week.
Okay,
but,
so yeah.
But I thought spring break was the second full week of March for most schools.
Well, I mean, that was most schools around
was,
us.
And Bridgewater was the week earlier.
Yeah, and then some schools are the week after.
Okay, so maybe I ran into a little bit.
What, thousands of colleges all across the country? You can't have all of them go on spring break at the same time.
Yeah, you could. Well, if there's that many colleges, then 3 weeks of it doesn't. I mean, it spreads out a little bit. It's still chaotic,
right?
Anyway,
right.
So I don't know. Stupid. So I think I saved $1,000 by staying an extra day and getting an extra night in the hotel.
Yeah.
So, that being said, everyone else was getting out of there on Sunday, whether they were flying to a different part of the country or they were taking the layover. It doesn't matter. Other people were flying out Sunday.
Right.
So in my head, I'm thinking about like the itinerary. I'll be like, okay, I'm getting there early Friday. I know we're playing golf on Saturday. You know, let me find out where we're playing, and if I can rent clubs, I will. That way I don't have to worry about a check bag and all that crap.
Right.
So I find out where we're playing. It's a private course in Mount Pleasant. And
that's pretty cool.
Doesn't seem like they have rentals. So I'm like, okay, the bag's coming. Well, if the bag's coming, I'm playing another time, if not more. So I book a round for Sunday as well. So my plans are right now as follows. 4:00 is my hotel check-in. Top Golf is at 6:00 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday is, well, I guess, so the 9 a.m. cold plunge was actually official. I didn't realize that. I thought that was more like unofficial.
Oh.
Then we were playing golf at 1 and we had dinner like that night. So Saturday's pretty much covered. And then Sunday, I'm playing golf at 11, and then I'm just going to Uber downtown and see where it takes me. Fly out Monday. And my flight Monday works out where I can check out of the hotel, go right to the airport, and it times out fine.
Perfect.
So I get off the plane on Friday, and it's like 10 a.m.
Yeah, I was going to say like 9:30.
Yeah, it's like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe 10:15 by the time I grab my bag.
Yep.
So I call a golf course that I know doesn't take single like reservations. They only take singles like day of, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. I call my hotel. I'm like, hey, if I come by with my shit, can I just leave it with you guys and like just pick it up when check in? Yeah, no problem. Okay, cool. Like that's pretty standard. But
yeah.
Then I call this golf course and they don't have anything. I'm like, okay. And then at that moment, one of the other guys was flying in. He goes, I just got on the ground. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like and I text him, I'm like, do you want to meet up? Like I'm still at the airport. I haven't even left yet. And like, frankly, I don't really have anywhere to go. So outside of drop my shit off at the hotel and then Uber, who knows where. So I'm just like, well, I'm still here. Like if you want to meet up, whatever. So we did that, got the rental car. Probably took about 45 minutes for his rental car. So if you had Hertz, Thrifty, Avis, Budget, Dollar, whatever, took you about 45 minutes of waiting. If you had Enterprise, there was no one in line.
Incredible.
And I mean fucking no one. I almost yelled over to him in line. I'd be like, bro, I will go rent an Enterprise car right now.
Yeah, just cancel your reservation.
If you can cancel your reservation.
Yeah.
Because it'll save us 42 minutes.
Yeah. Holy shit.
But whatever. So we waited out. He gets his car, because ultimately he needs to get the car because he needs to take it, return it, all that crap.
Right.
So we go downtown, get barbecue. He checks into his hotel. We get a drink. I go to my hotel. We go to Top Golf, and we actually set it up. And I think the other ones that we've been to allow for this, but I think I just chose not to use it. I kind of forget. But you can set up simulation on those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I forgot because I'm like, wait. I'm like, I don't remember. But then I'm like, you know what? It sounds kind of familiar. But then I just figured either the crew we were with. Well, I guess in both cases, the crew we were with, because one was incapacitated.
Right.
I go, we can't do simulation. This doesn't work. Like it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we actually like set it up for that for Top Golf. And that was whatever. Well, I mean, that was fine. Like that was good. Like Top Golf was Top Golf. I liked playing the simulation better than the games because the games lose my interest.
Yeah. And what is it? It's as you get closer, you have to hit it into
Yeah. So if you set
one of the
up
colors, right?
So if
Like
your
your
ball
approach.
is in proximity, so ours was set to like the yellow 57-yard marker.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, will I tell you, I was fucking good at hitting that. So fucking good. It's what saved me because it's like the rest of it's just like I'm doing all types of dumb shit. Like,
yeah,
I'm like hitting driver off the deck and hitting like a 60-yard cut
yeah,
in a fucking Top Golf. It's like, why
right.
are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm making all these jokes like, oh, shot maker over here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm like, it's too bad I can't do any of this stuff on the golf course. They go, really? You can't? I go, no. My ball goes pretty straight.
Yeah.
Like I don't what
Yeah.
I go, what it's fucking around. So that brings us to Saturday because Friday's pretty standard. Outside of did the bartender kill someone on? Oh, he killed Alabama on Friday night. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we were watching that. I had San Diego State. So Saturday,
Mhm.
you know, we're at Top Golf and he's talking about the cold plunge and where it is and reservation. I'm like, oh fuck, this is like a real thing. Fucking
Oh, so it's not at the dude's house.
no, I thought it was.
Oh, so
I
it's
thought he
at...
had a cold tub. It's
Oh
not.
no, wait. Was this in a plaza?
And it was like a fucking cottage.
No, there was
So here's the problem with Mount Pleasant. Everything's in a plaza.
yeah, was there like white columns and like a juice bar next door?
Probably. Why
I
did
think
you go for the float tank?
I went for the float tank. Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know if they have one. I forget what the place is called.
Yeah.
It's like something or other wellness center. Like they had a bunch of saunas.
Yeah. I think I went there.
They steam room, but like it doesn't. It's not like a building. Like, did you go into like in the plaza was like a retail space?
Yeah, it was like a retail space in a
No,
plaza.
this wasn't it then.
Oh,
Because
okay.
this was in a plaza, kinda, but it's like it was like a house.
Yeah, so it was like almost like a when I say plaza, that's like a nice. It was a fancy strip mall, basically.
Yeah, that's what everything in Mount Pleasant is, though.
Yeah, yeah, and like there was it was the float spa, and they had a couple float tanks, and I think they had some saunas. And then right next door was like a juice bar.
Let me see if I can pull this up really quick.
It was like right over the bridge. So if you're coming from Charleston,
right over?
Yeah. So if you're coming from Charleston into Mount Pleasant,
probably 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah. If you cross over the bridge, it's on the left. I don't know how I remember that shit. I was in Charleston like what, 5 years ago?
Who knows?
Like when the fuck did I go? My memory is so fucking weird.
I don't know what the fuck this place is called. Yeah, it wasn't right over. We went to Synchronicity.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay, Synchronicity's down a little bit.
I would have remembered that name.
Yeah. So fine, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Someone is staying like across, like, so the hotel I stayed in was a Candlewood Suites, whatever. I think I get double points, but I think I might have fucked that up. I'm not really sure. It was cheap and it was fine. Like the hotel room was perfectly fine. Exactly what I needed. Shout out to Candlewood Suites in the IHG hotel. So one of the guys stayed at the Quality Inn directly across the street. And he had a car. I go, cool, I'll just go with you, whatever. Like, come pick me up. Like, we're going the same place anyway.
Yeah.
I'll just bum rides off whoever I can. Oh, also, our 45 minutes, he booked a Nissan Frontier. They gave him a giant blue fucking Warlock with racing stripes.
Dude, I think that's the one I had.
You had a giant blue fucking Warlock with racing stripes?
Yeah, when we
Did you get it from Hertz?
Maybe. So when Amy and I went to Myrtle Beach a couple years ago now, we flew into Charleston and we spent our first day in Charleston, and then we drove to Myrtle from there because it was cheaper. And I signed up for like a regular car, and they gave me a like a lightning blue Warlock with black racing stripes.
It was probably the same car.
It had to. How many of those exist in a rental?
And you guys only went what, 2021?
We went. It was during COVID, so it was either.
Was it 2020?
It was either 2020 or 2021.
I don't remember when you guys. Well, I remember you guys going. I don't remember when that was.
Yeah.
No, it's literally what they gave him.
Yeah,
it was fine. Fuck it,
dude. That's hilarious. It was probably
so
the
hard to
exact same
park,
fucking
though.
truck.
So, so the other guy picks me up in the morning. So we're going on our way over, and I asked him like, oh, how was getting the rental car? He goes, fine. There was no one in line. I go, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So whatever. We're like on our way over. I still was like, am I gonna really do this? I go, I don't know. Like, I go, and I got in the car and I spoke, and it's like, oh shit. I go, I sound like a fucking frog right now. I probably drank like 8 high noons or so. So it's like not crazy, right?
Right.
Like that's nothing.
No, it's not.
And it was stretched over time. Mixing some other stuff, whatever. But I probably had like 8 drinks, and we didn't get home that late. So I actually felt perfectly, I'll say okay, because it wasn't spectacular, but I was not that hungover.
Yeah.
Like whip down a coffee before we left, get in the car, can't speak. Like I sound like shit. I'm like, great, here we go. I go, I promise I sound worse than I feel. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Like, so we get in, and you got to sign like a waiver, give your info. I don't fucking know. And they're doing blood pressure. I go, this is going to be hysterical. I go, well, I just drank a coffee. I had 8 fucking drinks last night. I go, this is going to be funny.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you think it's going to be bad? I go, I know it's going to be bad. I assure you. You want to take a guess as to what my blood pressure was?
146 over 90.
142 over 88. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at me. He goes, said you drank last night? I go, yeah. He goes, and you had a coffee this morning? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, this isn't that off then.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So we go out. There's two tanks for the cold plunge. They look like giant coolers for humans. So the deal with these is they're not ice baths because they have jets that run through it. They circulate the water. So they're set to 42 degrees. They stay 42 degrees.
Right.
If you jump in an ice bath, the water temperature rises when your body temperature gives it off.
Right.
So
the jets actually also make it harder
to withstand.
Yes, because it's constant flow of water. So if you just have like a tub, basically like an ice tub, and you sit in there, after like a minute, you build what's called a thermal layer. So like,
and the jets don't allow
you to the water like right around your skin is slightly warmer than the rest of the water because it's a thermal layer. It's taking your body temperature. But if you have jets going, that doesn't happen. So it makes it a little bit tougher.
So one of the guys goes in and he like does a spin into the cooler. I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, yeah, you don't want the jets at your back. He goes, you want to face them. Like, okay, fine. All these rules. So it's like, okay, it's my turn. I'm like, all right, well, we're at an official place. He fucking paid, whatever. I'm hungover. I'm hungover-ish.
Yeah.
Just put me in this stupid thing. So I'm in. You're supposed to take like some deep breaths beforehand. Forgot to do that. Um, so I'm in, and I did not, like, my nipples did not hit water. So
Okay.
that's the level I went into.
Yeah.
And I had my arms out on
Like,
the sides.
yeah.
So I'm in, and everyone says it's like, you got, like, in my head, I'm thinking if I make it 2.5 minutes, like, that's good enough. Like,
Yeah.
they say after like a minute and a half is like when you start to get used to it. I'm like, another minute off that, fine.
Yeah.
So I'm in there, and this sucks. Like, this fucking sucks. And the worst part is it's all in my shins. Like, my shins are fucking killing me, which isn't abnormal, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people were talking about like vasodilation and shit, and I just was like focusing on like not having my shins hurt so bad, except they
Well,
did.
yeah. Wouldn't it be? It's vasoconstriction is what's
Whatever.
going on. Oh,
I
okay. I
don't
thought. Yeah.
know.
It was okay. I just wanted to make sure it was a misremembering versus them being like, oh, vasodilation.
I
Because
don't know.
if you
That's the thing.
vasodilated in a cold tank, you would probably die.
Yeah, because vasodilation, your blood flow would go. Yeah, you'd get hypothermia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. So I'm in there, and then I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I have noticed the point that it gets better. The only problem is now my upper body has uncontrollably started shaking.
Yep.
And at that stage, I'm like, I'm fucking out of here because I can't hold myself up and shake uncontrollably. I go, this is too fucking cold.
Yeah.
So I got out, whatever. It's fine. Like, I don't know. I don't think I could like do it habitually.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see it being like something that I would like get gassed up for. What I did notice was on a day after a day that I flew, didn't drink nearly enough water, drank plenty of alcohol, had plenty of salt, did a bunch of walking and moving, whatever. When I got out of that tank, like any swelling in the lower body, gone.
Yeah.
Like none whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's actually pretty good. Because usually when I go on trips like this and I walk a ton and drink a ton and eat like shit and don't drink any water and be a piece of shit, like my ankles swell and my body's a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, I could see this being like an undo some nasties.
Right. Right.
So whatever. Everyone did it. I think the longest someone went was maybe 7 minutes. Maybe like 5 and 7. But those
really
are guys who have
fucking
done
good.
it before.
Yeah. I think the typical like goal is like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think if it, like the more you're used to it, the closer you get to 5 or 6. And the less you're used to it, 2.5, 3, something like that.
I forget what I've looked into like studies on it and stuff like that.
I forget.
I forget what because obviously you get diminishing returns, right? And I think the sweet spot is somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes.
Okay, I thought it was a touch. I think there is like an adaptation to it. I don't know. Whatever. Not important.
Yeah. It also depends on whether you're fully submerged, because some people will go fully submerged.
Yeah.
Um,
which the people who have done it before did.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
Because I just figured I was gonna have a fucking anxiety attack in there. Honestly, it was like the fucking wings at Wendell's. Like when I first got in that tank, I go, how the fuck do I stay in this tank but get out of this situation? I go, because this fucking hurts a lot and I don't know what to do about it.
I've made a mistake.
So whatever. So then I'm freezing the rest of the day until we get to the golf course. But
did you like feel like better though? Like, did you feel?
I felt alert.
Yeah.
Any of the grogginess was fucking for sure gone. Because
what it actually does is and this is where like the time frame and like how you do it comes into play. It releases serotonin. So obviously, like when you immediately get out, you feel fucking great because you just got like a serotonin dump. But I forget it, and it's like if you last for like, say you go for at least 2.5 minutes, whatever, the science shows that it's a sustained release of serotonin throughout the entire day. So you actually like feel better for the entire day. Like you're just in a better mood.
Yeah, well, you were about to put me on a golf course, so I don't think there's a bigger serotonin dump than
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
especially for a Northeast boy heading down south to play his first like
A
actual
private
18 hole
course.
round.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Listen, the course was nice. Like, and I'm going to get to it. It was nice,
Yeah.
but this was not. So, everyone's heard of Kiowa.
Yep.
Some people have heard of Bulls Bay. Those are courses that we did not play. So, we played a private. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but we're not talking crazy here.
Yeah.
I think it's something like, I think they were saying a few years ago it was like $2,500 down and $4,000 a year. So if you account for that being South Carolina and not Massachusetts,
Right.
it's probably more similar to like a 6,000, 5,000 down and probably five and change a year.
Yeah.
So just like a, a solid private around, whatever.
Yeah.
So we get to the golf course and putting, and I'm on there and I'm like, this is different. This is different. And one of the guys is from Charlotte, and I ask him, I go, hey, what am I putting on right now? He goes, it's probably Bermuda. I'm like, okay. I go, do I have to worry about grain? He goes, I don't think so. He goes, that's more like Florida where that's like really like a big issue. He just goes, but if you see something that's super shiny, it's going to be fast. It's like, okay, fine. So I noticed that right away that the greens were certainly different.
Mhm.
And I don't know who was, someone kept saying, they go, oh, it's kind of wet out here. And I'm like, it is not fucking wet out here. Like, it is not wet.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys don't
Like,
know
ah,
what wet is.
It's a little wet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if this is a little wet, then what the fuck do we play in?
Sometimes we get like rivers in the fairway. Like
Yeah,
a
I'm like,
section of the fairway turns into a fucking swamp.
yeah. It's like, oh, it's a little wet. Like,
Yeah.
so I will say, I've never had more mud balls in my life. So there is something to be said about like the different types of grass on a golf course.
Yeah.
And outside, so I've only played outside the Northeast at Savannah. That's
Yeah,
it.
I think I'm probably the same.
And whatever was at Savannah, it was not Bermuda. I don't know if it was bent, blue, 409, 711, 306. Like,
POA.
it wasn't POA.
Yeah.
Because I played POA the next day. Or I played like a POA mix. I don't fucking know. I know what they were talking about at Chambers Bay, but whatever. So it's like, this is like the first time I'm like, okay, so like the grass actually matters. So I'm like, I should probably hit some chips. And I'm like, all right, okay, this seems fine. So, meanwhile, it's like the rest of golf is the same. It's just approaching the green. So, I hit my first ball in, it's like a 9-iron. And I see the thing just like rip back.
Bad for the game.
And I'm like, well, it was after a punch out. And I see the ball just like rip back. And I'm like, must be like a hill or like a slope or something. Cause I'm like, a 9-iron doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm up on the green and the guy from Charlotte hits his like a pitch shot because he ended up short. And I thought he fucking sculled it. Like this thing's coming in low and hot.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it hits the turf and just throws the fucking brakes on and rips back.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
This is different. Like,
Yeah.
This is something I have not ever seen before.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting because I don't know why there was so much mud because it did not it did not seem wet out there. Like, not wet at all. And it's like, it's a little wet. I'm like, how? How is this fucking like whatever? Yeah. But I did notice that there was a lot of mud between like all lies, like fairway, rough, around the greens, whatever. So I ended up playing all right. I mean, nothing. I have nothing to like really like come back with outside of like playing Bermuda greens for the first time. You can just fucking hit a ball as hard as you want, and it's just like it's coming back.
Yeah.
And like that was interesting.
That's kind of wild.
Or it's like if I fly something, like it's stopping. Like there were a couple times where it's like the ball goes up, it's like bite, 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 and it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, the chipping, it's fucking not easy.
I can imagine it would be
I
pretty difficult.
Definitely caught a few heavy. So
meanwhile, I'm at Heather Hill yesterday and I'm like
wondering if there even is grass.
I'm 47 yards from the middle of the green and I hit a chip shot that lands like literally on the front lip of the green and rolls off the back. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So that's what we're doing. We're just playing on dirt today.
Yeah. So, Snee Farm, just solid course. It's probably not going to be any notoriety. It's not going to whatever, but it was good. I mean, again, Bermuda greens, like it was significantly, it was like fucking Velcro.
Yeah.
So, first 18 holes down. My next 18 holes is at a public course, Patriots Point. So Patriots Point links. I have to go into Patriots Point, Mount Pleasant. And this is where the Uber driver was like, oh, yeah, Fort Sumter. I'm like, oh, yeah, is that around here? He's like, oh, it's like right here. We're going to drive by it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, it's where the first shots of the Civil War were fired. Except there really wasn't a Civil War, but that's a different story. And I'm just like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Because, in the North, like if I had a Civil War champs shirt, I would have worn it.
Yeah.
But we actually teach the history where the South did in fact lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't really a civil war. It was more of an economic dispute.
Seemed a lot like a war.
Yeah. There was somebody, they just talked about this on a podcast the other day, but somebody had a joke. Maybe it was Bill Maher. That was like, oh yeah, people in the South like to claim like, oh, it wasn't about slavery or it wasn't about a civil war. It was really an economic dispute. And then Bill Maher, or whoever goes, yeah, a dispute. They didn't want to pay the help.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, whatever. Again, it's like, it's 2023. You're fighting a battle from 160 years ago.
Yeah. That you
to
lost.
A northerner that frankly doesn't give a fuck.
Which also
I don't care what you think about the Civil War.
It's not like at this point too, it's not you, like you didn't fight in it. Your parents didn't fight in it.
I'm actually fairly certain.
Your grandparents didn't fight in it.
Nope. My great-grandparents didn't fight in it either.
Yeah. If you're going 160 years ago, that's probably
no one in my
4 or 5 generations ago.
There was no one in my lineage that fought in that war.
Yeah. Same, because we've done this before. Once you get past my grandparents on both sides, you're in Europe.
Yeah.
So like I think all 4 of my grandparents were born in this country, but all 8 of their parents were not.
I don't even think Italy was like what it is. Like wasn't Italy like not a country?
Yeah.
Like didn't they have to unify it or something?
Yeah, that's true. That's
because it was like the Roman Empire or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think Italy was Italy when the Civil War was fought or something. It's got to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my Uber ride over. 5-minute Uber ride. And I get that, Gem. Beautiful.
Yeah, awesome.
So after some logistical issues on the tee, we're settled. We're playing with 2 guys from Alabama, or kids, two younger guys from Alabama and one from Philly. Of course, the guy from Philly got married on Nantucket, so it's just like I don't know how the fuck this keeps happening. Like how the fuck did you get to Nantucket?
Yeah. Oh, buddy, isn't it awesome? Oh, it's such a beautiful place. I bet you go all the time. Nope. Actually, I've only been once.
I have never been to either island. So
my 31 years of being alive, I've been to Nantucket once.
Yep, neither island.
Yeah.
So first hole, I hit my approach shot, and the ball kind of like stops again. I go, okay, we got Velcro again. Boy, was I fucking wrong. So I was going to play this course. It was 5 minutes from the house. I was able to get it. No problem. Whatever. But I guess the reputation here, which again, this is fine. It is what it is. Cool course, cool layout, great views because it's right on the Charleston Harbor. Greens are shit.
Oh.
So not only were the greens not of good quality, they were inconsistent all over the place. They were POA. So like when they were bitching at Chambers Bay about the greens being broccoli, I know what they mean now. Because I saw it. I saw what they're talking about. So it's like some greens were super fucking bumpy, some weren't. Some were fast, some weren't. I'm like, this kind of blows. So I almost just went into like almost auto 2-putt mode or a 2-putt max mode. Because they were just like, and then, the first green was horrible. Second green, not much better. Third green, okay. And it like almost got better as we went, like in order.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to putt these things if they're bouncing and bounding? And it's like, it might as well be punched.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So that was tough, but there's definitely 2 people in Alabama, probably the Tuscaloosa area. If you're listening, sup, Reed and Luke, they're going to still be like, when you like do something with like a random person and like you remember that person.
Yeah.
Well, like the thing was, it's like I was playing with them and the dude, Luke, he was fine. Like whatever, struggled a little bit and like, whatever, it happens.
What were they there for? Did they say?
They were there. So that was the thing. It was they played a couple times and I was like, oh, what are you guys down here for? They're like, oh, just here. And then it was like, yeah, like I'm marrying someone's whatever. And I'm like, what?
So is it a bachelor
So are
party?
you there? Like, are you there anyway? Like, are you there just to be there? Or are you like how is that relevant? Anyway.
Yeah.
So I think they were just playing. So the thing was though, this dude kept pulling 7-iron around the greens and he was chipping it like fairly close, fairly good.
Yeah.
So, like I start like drilling him for the 7-iron thing, but I'm like telling him, I'm like, hit the fucking 7-iron. And he's like, I know you're giving me a hard time right now. And I'm like, yeah, kinda, but like, bro, you're hitting it. You chip it close every time with the 7-iron. Why would you pull a wedge?
Yeah.
I'm like, apparently you got the 7-iron dialed in. And then like one of them looks, goes, man, I told you he was talking shit. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Fucking Alabama boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were cool, whatever. But yeah, that was the only thing. It was like, so right on the harbor, ocean views, you got boats and whatever the fuck, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But greens, really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate.
So I actually looked up. Oh, go.
Oh,
keep going.
No, but so to this point, I've only been in Mount Pleasant. I haven't even been to Charleston yet, outside of the Top Golf being in North Charleston and the airport being in Charleston.
Right.
So go home, shower, whatever. And I'm like, all right, so I'm going to go downtown. And I'm sitting on the bed. And I'm trying to figure out where to go. And I'm also being lazy. But ultimately, I'm like, all right, I'll just get dropped off at the Charleston Beer Works, whatever. And I'll watch the game. So I go by, place is packed. I'm like, fuck. So there's no seat at the bar. So I'm like, all right, new plan. I'm walking around. Some lady's yelling at me about God knows what. I don't even fucking know. Like, she's literally just yelling at everyone. And then eventually I'm the only one standing on that corner now. I'm like, oh, yeah. Why?
Yeah.
So I get a couple bourbons at one place. I go to a Mexican place because there's a seat at the bar so I can watch the end of the Texas game because I have a future on Texas and a Final Four on Texas, and they're up 12. Great. They lose. So I had ordered a spicy margarita at the place. It was actually pretty good, and I don't even like tequila. Mostly because I couldn't taste tequila, but that's fine. So the guy
That's
goes,
the
"Oh, you
best
want chip?"
kind of tequila.
He goes, "Oh, do you want chips and salsa?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." It's like this massive thing. Fuck. And then I go ordered like some fried shrimp, something
Yeah.
appetizer, whatever. So I'm like eating the chips, and I ate all of them, obviously. But then I'm sitting there, I'm like, don't feel too hot. Like this isn't. I don't know if this is gonna work. So I ate the shrimp, and I'm like, the only thing that's gonna happen now is I'm gonna get more hammered and feel worse.
Yeah.
I go, I'm out of here. I go, this
Yeah.
isn't. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna be shit faced. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um. So I spent about 3 hours in Charleston out of the whole time. So my trip was effectively Mount Pleasant, not Charleston,
Yeah.
which I liked Mount Pleasant. That was fine.
It's really nice. Like I think I explained it. I don't know if it was on the podcast, but the way I had it explained to me was Mount Pleasant is like new money and Charleston is old money. So
Yeah, I think part of what's happening is like parts of Mount Pleasant are still shitholes, but
yeah.
like people are buying it up and
Yeah.
renovating it and whatever.
So I looked up where you were staying, and you were like basically across the street from the float spa.
Oh,
So you were there's like a bunch of hotels right where you were, right?
yeah,
Like
there's
right
like
off the
3 or 4,
highway. Yeah.
and then there was
So
some behind me, whatever.
when you come over the bridge, if you go to the right, like if the like when the road splits, you can either like stay on the highway on the left, or you can go to the right and go down, like it's almost like the Fellsway, like a main road.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? That's I'm assuming that's probably how you got to Patriots Point links, because I'm looking at that too.
No, I left and went behind my hotel and drove under the bridge.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, through a rotary.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but so the float spa is literally right there.
Okay.
Um, and then I saw synchronicity, and that is a lot more deeper into
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, I mean, I was right there.
if you want to go back and stay in that Quality Inn, like Kevin didn't die,
Yeah.
so there's that.
Yeah, I think I told you where I stayed. I stayed over like kind of by the Citadel.
Which was
Um,
North Charleston
yeah, yeah. And
shithole.
it was kind of in the ghetto. It was kind of like a really like a sneaky, sketchy neighborhood.
Yeah. So ultimately, what did it? So the problem is like I would have stayed right on King Street at the Hyatt, something or other,
Mhm.
like. Because I was talking to my accountant, his daughter goes to school there. So he goes, dude, just get the Hyatt. It'll be like $225 a night. I'm like, not this week. He
Yeah,
goes, what is it? I go, like 350, 380. He goes, oh God, no. He goes, that no way. It's
yeah,
not worth that. Because even the 225, it's for proximity. It's nothing special. So my real estate broker, his brother lives down there. He goes, there's like 6 hotels over the bridge. Stay in one of those. They're all fine.
yeah. And it's literally like a 5-minute ride from there to downtown Charleston.
Yeah, it was like a fucking 12-minute Uber.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, $12 Uber.
yeah.
That might
I
be with a tip.
think I stayed on Poplar Street. Poplar, or the fuck
Oh.
you say it. It's in North Charleston. It was
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I would definitely go back and actually spend a little bit more time in Charleston.
Yeah, so that's also what I was going to say, is the whole big like reveal thing, right? Is like, what do you think of Charleston? Because
But I
obviously
don't know.
we've been to Savannah.
Yeah, but I don't know Charleston.
Yeah, that's true. And people compare Savannah and Charleston all the time. So I think for me personally, I might give the slight edge to Savannah.
So I think because when you're like a piece of shit, like I am, just the small appeal that River Street is.
Yeah. It all depends on what you're looking for, right? Like if you're trying to like go do stuff, Charleston's probably the better city, right? Because there is
I'm
like
never
Fort
I'm never trying to
Sumter.
do
Yeah,
shit.
no, I know. But for all the listeners and to the show, like if I mean they're also close enough that like you could go between them.
I think it's only like maybe like 220,
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
yeah, I think so. Like if you're
That
going to
might
be
be
there for
Hilton
like
Head
a
though.
week, oh,
That
that's
might be
true.
Hilton Head.
Yeah,
So
but
I
I
think
mean,
I
if you're going to
looked.
be down there for a week, it's very doable to get between the two cities. Um, but yeah, I think, like I said, as far as like shit to do, I think is more in Charleston. I think there's maybe more like old, like historical bullshit in Savannah.
Again,
Um,
dude, like
but
I spent
Savannah's like fun, right? Like it's River Street. Like you can walk up and down, you can bar hop, you can open carry drinks. Like it's just a little bit more of like I think it's a little bit more of a party scene.
Yeah, so the only thing I will say that it did strike me in Charleston is that it's definitely a so like when people tell me like, oh, a southern city, you'll like it, da 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 da. Savannah and New Orleans, although they're both more disgusting than Charleston, so I guess whatever. But like people like dress up in Charleston.
Yeah.
And like some of these places, like people
It's
look like
younger too.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
it's
more
like
young. There's
like a
colleges right there. So
yeah.
like Charleston has a lot more like 20-year-olds, like between, just yeah, 20 between 20 and 30. And like Savannah is probably more like 35 plus.
Yeah, but even adults were like at the bars, they were like people were like dressed up at like a regular place. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is kind of
Yeah, it was
strange.
weird. And but don't get me wrong, both cities are absolutely amazing. Like I love both cities. Um I think, and like I said, I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But I think I would, like I said, I would give the slight edge to Savannah, mostly for River Street, and like there's not as many like 22-year-olds running around. Because
Yeah.
also, like at this point, I don't want to hang out
Yeah.
with anyone that's under 25. Like you're just gonna piss me off.
Yeah, like dude, I went to so the place I got the couple bourbons at, it was the cocktail club, second floor.
Yep.
I walk in, there's one other person there, and I'm pretty sure he was an employee or an ex-employee or a friend of the bartender.
Yeah, yeah.
So I sit down and I'm like, I'm having two bourbons. I don't give a fuck. And then I hear like people yelling from like the entranceway. I go, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
And something that this place did was the fish bowls. So there might have been, I don't know, 6 of them. I tried not to make eye contact. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, because I like, okay, because like, listen, I didn't want to make eye contact because I could tell that these people are younger or in college.
Right.
And then it's like oh, hey, like, what's your name? Like, what are you doing here? You waiting for people? Like, no, we're not engaging.
Yeah.
I'm drinking and you're leaving me alone.
Yes.
That's why I'm here right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't even turn around. And I'm like listening to these people. I'm like, this is insane. And I can tell it's like, I don't know if they were in college or just out of college. I can tell it's a younger
Yeah.
population. Because they're like hooting and hollering about God knows what and fucking like whatever, like fucking speaking fucking nonsense. And not even because they're shit faced. It's just they're not speaking coherent thoughts.
Right. Right.
And they get their fishbowl, and then 2 of them are still standing there as they take the fishbowl outside, and they're arguing over like how one wants babies immediately and the other one never wants babies ever. So actually, if I could have my uterus removed, I would do it right now. And she's like, what do you mean? She goes, if I want a kid, I'll adopt one. It's like, you can adopt? Like, you don't want one of your own?
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like, I would have babies now. I would have them tomorrow if I could. I'm like, oh my God, shoot me in the fucking face.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like a Southern thing. Like,
Yeah.
they think like that. I do not. I'm thinking, shoot me.
That's a very Southern thing.
So whatever. They go outside, fish bowls. One dude they were with comes back inside and he sits down at the bar. He goes, I can't fucking do this. And they're like, what? He goes, first and foremost, he goes, I'm allergic to sandflies and I think there's some out there. They're like, yeah, that'll happen. He goes, yeah, so I'm in here. He goes, I don't know how much longer I can do that for. And then they come back inside, go into like a side room, and they drag him back in. It's like, bro, if there's like fucking hell on earth, it's like it's you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that sucks.
You're in the seventh ring
Although
of
I would have just
Dante's
fucking
hell.
like again, you can leave though, because the door's right there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that hard. So yeah, definitely like that younger aspect
Yeah.
is definitely prevalent. But like yeah, it's like the people of like Mount Pleasant seem like very health conscious.
Hmm.
Um, so for like a southern city, it's like it's not like Savannah or New Orleans.
Right. Right.
So not that I've been to many others to really compare it to, but
Yeah. I
it's
mean, those are
definitely
the big
cleaner.
ones.
It's definitely cleaner. If you want a bar hop, there's a million of them, like
Yeah.
literally a million.
King
And
Street.
they're,
And what's the other one? Market Street or
I think
Meeting
Market
Street?
Street, but I didn't even get that far. So it's like
Yeah.
Market. So King goes straight down north
They run,
south.
they run parallel to
That's
each other.
Bay East Bay Street, I think,
Okay.
or Bay Street.
Because I know there's two that run parallel to each other. And then
And then
there's that
Market
like
runs.
bazaar thing that they have. It's like a permanent,
I think it's the Market,
yeah, the market. It's like
the City Market or something.
yeah, it's like Faneuil Hall, but shittier.
I didn't go that far,
Yeah.
dude.
And
I'm telling
then
you, like I spent
over by the
3 hours
water,
there and I didn't do shit.
there's some cool spots over by the water too. When I was there, I went to, I think it was called the Landing.
Might be Fleet Landing. I was
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
recommended
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the place I told you, right? Go to the Landing.
Yeah, I just didn't make it there. That's East Bay Street ish.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
That looks like a main road.
yeah, that was a cool, they had really good seafood there.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that um I knew based on our plans that I wasn't going to really be able to like see downtown.
Right.
Um so I just figure I'll go back sometime.
Yeah.
And I can pick and choose when I do that because I don't have to pick the certain weekend where everything's expensive.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can pick a time where it's like 350 round trip instead of
There'll be a
700.
time where it is that.
Yeah. No,
I
I know.
looked.
That's I mean, I can't remember how much I paid now going back, but I can almost guarantee you that I didn't pay $700 round trip to Charleston when I went. Although granted that was, we're also looking at maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point, so that's pre-COVID, it's whatever. But
Well, no, because I looked. I looked when I was booking, which was like in February or so. And it was like under 400 round trip.
yeah.
And then the hotels were like take one digit less from whatever that number started in. So if it started with a 3, start with a 2. If it started with a 2, start with a 1.
Right. Right.
You wanted to stay at the Quality Inn, it was probably about $65 a night.
Yeah.
So I'll go back sometime. I don't know when, don't know where, but
Yeah. It's a
give another shot.
good spot. I would like to go back to actually play golf because I've been twice now, and neither time.
You've been
I
1.5.
golfed. Yeah, that's true. I went. I was there for
Did
one
you guys
day.
did you guys even stay a night?
No.
You just went for the day and then drove.
Yeah, we landed like super early.
Yeah, because it's only like an hour and 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To Myrtle.
Yeah, and we probably left. I think we got dinner somewhere and then left after dinner and then drove to Myrtle.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's the other thing too is like with Charleston, so it's a little more south of Myrtle.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Boston to Myrtle situation sucks cock, so
Yeah.
that's a huge fucking deterrent.
Yeah.
It's north of Hilton Head, so you get like you just got to pick out your times.
Yeah.
Like you probably don't want to go in January. Like it's probably fine, but you could get 30, 40 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, it does snow there occasionally.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think
the one thing
average,
I remember my Uber driver told me.
Yeah, the lowest average low I saw was 39 degrees. I think it's in January. So, yeah, that's not that low, right? Like I would take that every day up here in January,
Right.
but
You're not going to play
that
golf
also
at
means you get some
39.
45s and you get some fucking 30s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I remember like if I was there in call it 2018 or whatever, um my Uber driver told me that it was like 2016 or 2017. They got like 3 inches of snow and the entire city was closed for like 4 days.
yeah, I think Charlotte does the same thing. Just
Yeah.
easier to shut down.
Yeah. And wait for it to melt.
Yeah, because it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you want, you can go to Kiowa
Mhm.
and play like the resorty type stuff. You can play the Charleston Muni, which I think is a little bit hard to get on, but it's supposed to be like cool or different or something. I don't know, whatever. Or you just go right over the bridge to Mount Pleasant, and there's
Right.
at least 4 courses that you can definitely play within probably 20.
Jamestown or James Island?
James Island is a thing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good golf there also.
There could be. I didn't look into it.
Yeah.
But I know because from looking at it, probably within 25 minutes of King Street, there's 4 public courses that you could definitely play all in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking
So
at it right now. James Island. That's where
is Daniel Island? Is that Charleston? Daniel Island?
um Drum yeah, Daniel Island.
Okay, because there's
Yeah.
supposed to be it's private, but there's supposed to be a sick fucking course there.
Um that's where Credit One Stadium is. I don't know what Credit One Stadium is.
It's not important.
Yeah.
It's like the Daniel Island golf course, whatever. But I don't know what's on James
So
or Sullivan.
the Charleston Muni is actually on James Island.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. The country
So
club
James
of country
James
club of
Island is
Charleston
so
also.
oh yeah. You don't worry about that. You ain't playing there.
Yeah.
So Charleston is like a little peninsula, right? Like
Yeah.
downtown
So I got
Charleston.
it right here.
So you actually have to go left to get
Yeah.
to James Island.
Yeah. So it's below.
It's
So
below.
like if you go, I know this is
Oh, is that the
backwards,
Dick
but
piece?
yeah, this is so Charleston is the Dick piece,
And you go straight down?
and then Mount Pleasant is right there.
Yeah.
So if you go south, well, you go the opposite direction of Mount Pleasant,
Yeah, you
and
go
then go
west to get to those
south,
golf
and
courses.
then this is James Island down here, and then Daniel Island is right here.
Yeah.
So like
I
Charleston,
don't know anyone for Daniel Island Club, so don't worry about that.
Charleston itself is not even like an actual city. Like if you look at it, it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like fucking rivers everywhere. It's just like a combination of fucking area around a river, and estuary, if you will. But yeah, so no, I actually didn't stay in North Charleston because I'm looking at it, and North Charleston is where the airport is. I was in Charleston, but I was in the northern part of Charleston that's not North Charleston.
I believe that's called Uptown.
Yes, uptown. I think
Were you near Home Team Barbecue?
I don't think so. I
Because
was
there's 2 barbecue places right next to each other, Lewis's and Home Team.
I was right by, actually, I think I was. I was like almost right under the highway, which, you know, probably should have been a dead giveaway about the area that I was staying in. So like, where are you looking at a map where like Home Team and Lewis is?
No, I'm not
Okay.
looking at them.
I was on
I
the
know where
other
it is.
side. So Lewis, I get it. So Lewis is right here.
Yeah, you were on the other side of the
I
highway.
stayed like down here.
Wrong side of the highway.
Yeah, I literally. But I mean, I didn't die, so
And neither did
fine.
Kevin in the quality end.
So, yeah, fun trip.
Yeah. Again, I'll have to go back to actually see Charleston, but
Right, right.
when planned correctly, it's not hard. It's not hard,
No.
and it's not expensive.
No, it's really not. So, I mean, we could probably find other places, but I was just saying we do have a bachelor party to plan for you.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do it
Yeah,
in Charleston.
yeah, that's what
I'm
I
sure
mean.
it's fine, but
Just the aforementioned, like everyone there being 22. It's like,
yeah, do I really want to deal with that?
right, because like we golf obviously, but again, golf only takes up 4 to 5 hours of the day.
Yeah, plus the whole crew can't play like that much golf.
Right. So, all right. Well, you want to wrap this bitch up?
Yeah, so I'll just put a bow on this with checking clubs for the first time.
Oh
So,
yeah. How'd that go?
So as a person with trust issues, checking clubs is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
So I bought my travel bag a few months ago. That's ready to go. And I thought of everything from shipping them to checking them to bringing a backup set. Like, I thought of everything. I go, all right, they're coming with me. And, I'm asking a few people. I'm like, oh, like, just as simple as, like, do you put a lock on your stuff? And they're like, oh, no, I don't lock anything. And I'm like, well, I'm not worried about, like, I'm worried about if the stuff gets lost, right?
Right.
So do some Googling. TSA approved locks can go on luggage. And if TSA needs to get in the bag, they can fucking pop it open. So I get one of those locks for $7 off Amazon. Fine. I also bought a tile brand tracker.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it really works or not. They say it does, but like it has to be on the Wi-Fi. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So whatever. I just bought one and threw it in the bag and whatever.
More for peace of mind, right? Like yeah.
Pretty much. Cause I think like it can be tracked at times. I don't exactly know how it works, but like the shit's supposed to be like if you lose your fucking keys.
Yeah, exactly.
You can hit it and it's like the keys start ringing.
Right.
So whatever. I have one of those because I know some people use air tags, but I can't use an air tag because I don't have an iPhone.
Right.
So whatever. So now we actually get to like the contents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was on TSA's website or something, and I see there's something with batteries, and I'm like, I don't know about this, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll take my rangefinder out, which probably makes sense anyway because that's valuable. I'll put my rangefinder and I keep an extra battery in my bag. I'll put those in my carry-on because it's no problem to put those in a carry-on.
Right.
I guess there's something like a battery could explode beneath the plane. So you can't put a battery.
Interesting.
You can't put a battery in a carry-on or something. I don't know. Whatever. I just put that shit in my bag. And then the question that some people debate, do you unscrew the heads of the clubs? I did. So I unscrewed the heads, put those in my carry-on. And
that must be hilarious to go through the X-ray machine. Guys, like, what the fuck is in this bag? Just a bunch of golf clubs. Yeah, it's like opening a bag, seeing a bunch of left hands.
I had three club heads, a rangefinder, a battery, and 4 days worth of protein bars, granola bars, and almonds or cashews or some shit. So I in the travel bag, because I don't have like a scale or anything to make sure I was under the 50 pounds. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like how many pounds this bag was. No clue. So like, I'm not going to push my luck. Everything fits in my backpack. So I threw my shoes, I threw some extra balls, and I put my clubs in there. So JetBlue sends you a little email. Sometimes it's before the flight, sometimes it's during the flight. So that little email, untrustworthy.
Yeah.
So telling me it's like, oh, your shit's on the plane. Fine. So I get to So when I meet up with the other kid, I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I was like weird, like flying with the clubs. I've never done it before, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I took the heads off and everything. He goes, you took the heads off? I was like, yeah. I go, I don't know. One of the guys at work told me, he goes, you popped the heads off, whatever. He goes, oh, he goes, I've never done that. He goes, I'm from California. He goes, I fly clubs across the country, whatever. He goes, do you have the stick? I was like, what stick? So I guess they make a stick with what looks like a little umbrella top.
Yeah.
So you put it in your bag and it telescopes out. So it spreads from bottom of the bag to the top of your
Wow.
travel bag. So that creates space. So like when the thing gets tumbling around, it hits the top of the umbrella and not your driver head.
Oh.
So he doesn't pop the heads off, but he has that stick thing.
Right.
So I'm not out of my mind because I met up with one of the other guys and he was like, no, I popped the heads off because I don't have the stick. I'm like, okay, good, perfect.
Yeah.
So 1 out of 1 times on 2 direct flights, clubs made it both to Charleston and home from Charleston. So,
All right. Well, could still be kind of playing with fire there, but it is, at least it worked this one time.
it worked this one time. Now,
And that's all you needed it to work for.
things that would make me less optimistic. Layovers,
Right.
number 1. Short layovers, number 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shitty airlines.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would ever fly Spirit.
Just in general.
Trying to like think of like why I ever would. I will never check a bag on Spirit.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
No, I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. I'm in the same boat, or the same plane, if you will.
I won't actually.
All right, let's see. What do I got here? What do I want to go with? I will go with this TV show that Amy and I completed, actually. So we watched it over the course of the last week. It's called The Mare of Easttown, like Mare as in like Mare. I originally thought it was Mayor of Easttown, and I thought, like, when I heard people talk about it, I thought it was like an accent thing instead of saying like mayor. Like they just like, oh, the mayor. Like you say it fast and it sounds like mayor, but it's not. It's actually Mare of Easttown. And the show is about a woman named Mare, which is short for Marianne, but it's actually about not about who it's Kate Winslet is the lead. And Evan Peters is in it. I mean, he's been in a million things. He got his start in American Horror Story. He was Quicksilver in the X-Men series. I mean, you know him if you saw him. He's been in everything. He was in WandaVision. They pulled him as Quicksilver from X-Men to be Quicksilver in WandaVision. And it was like the funny crossover thing. That's Evan Peters. I forget who else was in it. I don't think there was any more big names that were in it, but it was absolutely fantastic. So it's on HBO, HBO Max Plus now, whatever the fuck it's called at this point. They've gone through like 7 different iterations of their name. The HBO streaming service. Let's run with that. I think there's only 7 or 8 episodes. It's a limited series. It was a one and done thing. It came out in 2021. So like that was it. Like it's not like one of those like Disney where they're just gonna take something and make a bajillion seasons out of it and make it suck. It was probably the best show I've watched on TV since I just binge watched Yellowstone. right? So like I would say in the last 12 months, right? The two best TV shows that I've watched would be Yellowstone and then Mare of Easttown. It was that fucking good. It has a little bit of everything that you could want. So the premise is it takes place in like this little like podunk shit town in like Western Pennsylvania, I think. Um and Kate Winslet is trying to, she's a detective, and she's trying to solve a crime of like a missing girl. But then there's like a bunch of other shit that happens, and you go down a bunch of other like rabbit holes. But it's like real, right? Because there's people in the town that, you know, have drug issues and like how it plays into everything. And she's the former like big basketball star who like hit the 3-pointer at the last second in high school and won the state championship for like this tiny little town. And then she stayed there and now she's the detective. So it's like everyone knows everyone. It's a really, really, really fucking cool and interesting story. And there's some action, there's some drama, and there's a couple fucking twists in there actually that you literally could not see coming, and just phenomenal. Like I can't say enough good things about it. I would highly recommend it to everyone, right? Like I just said, if someone was like, you know, what are the best TV shows you've watched recently? I would go Yellowstone 1, Mare of Easttown 2. I don't even know what I would put at 3. Probably The Last of Us. I feel like I haven't watched too much of like series TV recently, but yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. Do you have HBO?
Yep.
Yeah. So I would like I said, it's only 7 episodes, so
Hour long, 45 minutes long. What are they?
45 to an hour. They vary. Like the last episode I think is an hour 20, but like most episodes are like, you know, 46, 54, like that range. So good stuff there. Like I said, I highly recommend it. Great show. So that is going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, again, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. If you're an audio only guy, same thing. Like, rate, review on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe everywhere else that you can. Tell everybody you know about the show. It's been like a week since we've done this. Oh shit. That's right. I forgot. I did this whole thing. Oh, damn. I'm still waiting for approval, actually. Well, cat's out of the bag. We have a new sponsor in the works on the podcast. I don't have a promo code for you yet because it's still in the works. It's in like the approval process, but BetMGM, I figured it out. I went through this whole thing and was like, what the fuck is this? And it actually ended up being their like property MGM affiliate link. And I had to go all over the place to try and find the affiliate link just for the sports book. But I found it. I filled everything out. That was either yesterday or Sunday. So they didn't say how long the process would take, but we're in the process. So shout out to BetMGM. We'll get you the promo code, you know, whenever we get it. So yeah, you can still use my bookie in the meantime. Use the promo code SarcasmPod, and that'll double your first deposit up to $1,000 over there. And that same promo code SarcasmPod you can use at grillyourassoff.com, which I will be using probably, you know, in the next couple of days. I need to buy some more stuff. You buy that Sailor Jerry's barbecue sauce that Bob talked about in the last episode. And you can get it for 15% off, again, with promo code SarcasmPod. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. The Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. The Facebook page, Sarcasm Speaks. Go to the website, sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the merch store, buy some shit. Give it to people for their birthday, anniversary, whatever you want. Gift it. Regift it if you want. I don't care. Whatever. Just buy it. And until next time, good night, everyone.